What's up, YouTube? Doug here, back with another video. So in this PSO2 Force video, this can actually apply to Phantoms and Heroes as well as Summoner and Techer, and really any class that will use Techer or Force or any of those as a subclass to be able to use Zondeel. So this video, I'm just going to show you pretty much my controller kind of layout, how I deal with damage control and stuff like that, and show you my controller now. So let's go ahead and get into it right now. So I'm in my Xbox home. So here I use the Elite Wireless Controller Series 2. If you don't use this controller, that's perfectly fine. If you use Series 1 or even Series 2 yourself, feel free to follow along my control playstyle. So if you use the Elite Series 1 or 2 on your PC and your Xbox, your settings will carry right over. So there's no need to reconfigure. You may need to resync your controller in between your consoles, which is really annoying, but that's whatever. So under configure, I have my three profiles for playing Forza, playing Halo, and of course playing Phantasy Star. So as you can see, I have back paddles right there. So we'll go in here real quick and I'll go ahead and show you. So on here, I know it looks very confusing, but on the right hand side of the screen, you see that I have my paddles. So my left and my right top paddles are my left and right on my D-pad. And then on the bottom left paddle will be my click ends button, or my L click button. And then my right back paddle, or the bottom paddle, will be my A button. So it allows me to be able to hold like Zondeel or anything in my sub palette, press it with my index finger or my ring finger to be able to jump and cast those spells all at once. So it looks very confusing, but after a while it feels right, because your other fingers actually have a purpose. So my ring and middle finger can be my left and right D-pad, and my ring finger can be my left click stick, and then A button is my right click stick, my right ring finger. So again, I know it looks really confusing, but after a while it feels so right. So would you dump $180 for an Elite Series 2 controller? No. Don't. Because I did. And was it worth it? Oh yeah, up and down was worth it. But let me switch over to PSO2, and then I will show you how I deal with damage control on mobs and stuff. So this will be the NA version, so feel free to follow along. See you over in a second. Okay, so now that we're back in the field, we'll show you how to deal with damage control. So as you can see, I have Zondeel on my palette, and there's like lots of enemies. So with my Pro controller, I can hold down my left lower paddle to use Zondeel, and just get everyone grouped together, and that's it. So you can do this with other techs. Of course, if you use Zondeel on a tech, like if I switch, and if you did or didn't notice this, but if you get enemies in a corner, if you ever notice why Zondeel has attack power, and group them together, you can actually detonate your Zondeel, and while it's still going, you can just continually detonate it, just over and over. Of course, you can equip rings that'll stop Zondeel from detonating, or they call either pacifist Zondeel or dud Zondeel, and that'll just prevent your Zondeel from exploding when you cast any lightning tech into it. So normally I will just keep it on my palette, Zondeel on my palette, so when I'm in a group of enemies, just like how I was, it'll just be easy just to take them all down at once, versus having to kind of pick them off one by one, or if you're using like Gizande and you could just get them off in a line anyway. It's always best to get them in a group, because Gizande's range, even though it's a little more confined, if you don't hit everybody, then you can quite likely miss. So if I use Zondeel and then nothing goes around, you can just wait for them to come around. And of course, he shows up. Well, if anyone's ever wondering how I play my Force, this is pretty much how I play it. So we'll get him out the way real quick. There we go. So I actually have an emergency quest up here for a trial. So no matter what element or anything you're using, getting enemies in a crowd together, it's a great way just to take them all out all at once. And of course, if you're in a multiplayer arena type deal, you won't really have to worry about that because by the time you'll probably get to a little bit in anyway. But if you're doing solo stuff, it's a good idea to use Zondeel, and a good idea to use pacifist or dud Zondeel so your Zondeel doesn't ignite. And of course, with situations like this, I would just spam this, because this is really effective against Elder too. So if you're using this against Elder, you have a really high chance of just stunning them anyway, if that's your goal. Of course, if your goal is just to do damage to them, you could just use Zondeel instead. Or if you just really close to enemies, you could just spam Zondeel anyway and just be fine with it. But if you have hard times like one-shotting enemies, or when we soon have free fills that'll be extra hard, you want to get enemies together so they can die as a group rather than just trying to pick them off one by one, especially when they're level 75 or 80. And of course, if you're a techer, you can expand the field of your Zondeel by, a lot. Or of course, you can use rings or customize your text to do the same thing. So that's how I deal with crowd control. I use, depending on where I am. Like right now, I'm in Dragon Altar. And really just depending on where I am and what I'm doing, I will just use what's available to me. So since everything gets dark, I will just get them together and just use this. Because keep making shit on them. Again, usually I would do this, when I'm by myself. If I just want things to die, or really don't, I'll just use immediate rather, or anything like that. I don't even have the best dark weapons, still using Psycho Wand, so. Anyway, that's just a few little good ways that you can just deal with a lot of enemies on screen, especially when you're doing advanced quests. You could just get rid of a lot of enemies all at once. So I hope this was helpful for you guys when you're playing Force and you're just trying to figure out, how to get rid of crowd control, how to get rid of large crowds and such. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, just, of course, leave them down below and I'll answer the questions as I see them. So until next time, peace.